Hello, welcome to today's episode with Nikki. Today I'll be talking about upholding our values in the midst of pressure, in the midst of coerce, using the study or the story of the King Nebuchadnezzar and the three Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So it's story time. Ta-da! So in Babylon there was this king called Nebuchadnezzar. He was a king at that time. At the time he constructed a golden image, and he gave an instruction that at the sound of the musical instruments, the harp, the flute, the every musical instrument you can think of, everybody should bow down and worship that golden image, except you'll be thrown into the burning fiery furnace, that is into the fire, the deep fire. Then at the time there was the three Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were in the land. So in the process, he had to give the instruction. The musical instrument was played, the harps, the flute, and everything you could think of, and everybody immediately bowed except Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were standing, without, they were not scared. They didn't care about what anyone would say and all that. They were not scared at the king's commandment or the king's rule. They were standing. Then everyone looked at that like, who are these that were not scared of the king and all that? They couldn't bow, and they reported to the king, and they were dragged before the king. When they appeared before the king had to give them a second chance and gave an instruction that the musical instrument should be played again to see their reaction, which was done. And they were still standing unshakable. Even before the king, they were not scared. And they said something. They say, "Oh king, we are not ready to answer you in this matter, because we know that our God is going to save us, and even if he don't even save us, we are not ready to bow." Wow, that is audacity. So this makes me to ponder and think that our value should be something we uphold so dearly. It should be something we are bold about and not to be scared about it. And secondly, it makes you to understand that our faith in God is not just believing that at all times everything will work perfectly or go perfectly well, but what about when things get scary, that we should still choose God despite the circumstances? Then back to my story. King Nebuchadnezzar was actually very angry, very furious, and then he gave an instruction that the fire should be made 7 times hotter, and he gave an instruction that the three Hebrew boys should be thrown into the fire. But guess what? The heat of the fire didn't have any effect on them. Rather, it affected the people that actually threw them into the fire. And at the time, after the burning and everything, King Nebuchadnezzar had to go in to peep into the fire. And guess what? He didn't just see the three Hebrew boys. He saw somebody else with them. And he was surprised. And he was like, "How many people did you throw into this fire? Was it not three?" And they said, "Yes." And he said, "I'm seeing somebody else, which could be the Son of God." So what am I pointing out? So the fire here could be peer pressure. It could be ability to say no when everyone is saying yes to things that does not align with your values or with your purpose. It could be ability to uphold your values. But then it's a reminder that you must not bow or kneel to pressure or to things that doesn't align with your purpose or with your value. You can still stand in the midst of this coerce or in the midst of peer pressure. And then another thing that struck my heart was I began to imagine the circle of friends. Imagine the circle of friends you keep goes a long way in upholding or helping you uphold your values. Because imagine Shadrach or Meshach or one of them had to bow. I really don't think the other ones would have been standing confidently and boldly, but they were able to stand firmly together. Yeah, so the circle of friends you keep goes a long way to help you uphold your values. So I believe this bless you. Please kindly like, subscribe, and share. See you next time. Bye.